Hear that, folks? Live feeding in a minute. Hey, welcome to a special episode of Geek Podcast review episode. I'm Ramon Mejia.
I'm Edgardo Costa.
And we are freshly back from watching the movie X-Men Apocalypse. We're just out of the theater, so we thought we'd give our review to you folks so you know whether to watch it this weekend or not. We are going to begin with Edgar's opinion of the film. Edgar, go.
And we are doing spoilers.
Oh, yes, we're doing spoilers. Spoilers, folks.
Ruin everything.
Yeah, so stop watching now if you haven't seen it or if you want to see without anyone else's opinions. Fair warning. And go.
Okay. Well, pretty much everybody, I've said it once, said it before, said it a bunch of times. I have a strong hatred towards Bryan Singer. But I was, I guess, more of an X-Men loyalist. I was surprised this movie got to me. Got to me in the positive way. Like, I actually liked this movie.
It touched him in his special place, folks.
Totally. And with the part that surprised me the most, I've actually kind of like it better than Civil War.
That is a surprise. Now, why would you like it better than Civil War, though?
I don't know. Once again, I think it's more because I'm an X-Men fan. I kind of wish, like to this day, still want Marvel/Disney to get the rights back to the X-Men and do a whole new reboot. But we've heard about other podcasters and whatnot speak about it because, they got the little bonus, get to see it before anybody else does. One of the benefits of being a critic, I guess. Yeah. So I was kind of like, from hearing some reviews, I was like, it's a movie from somebody.
So you're hesitant going into the film.
Totally.
And it surprised you, I guess?
Well, yeah, because usually, especially watching X-Men First Class, I wasn't happy with it, but I still gave my money. They got my money, so. But yeah, this one I enjoyed. I enjoyed from beginning towards the end. Even we still saw the post credits.
That post credit scene was interesting, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But in general, Edgar gives it a very positive review. Me, on the other hand, I went into the movie with low expectations, and those expectations were fully met. Really? So I didn't care for the film quite as much. I didn't think it was horrible. Plenty of critics have given it just horrible reviews. I thought it was mediocre at best. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd probably give it about a 4 or a 5 at most. It wasn't bad. I mean, there were a series of moments. They should have made me feel something for them, but they didn't. I mean, there were a few moments that I really enjoyed and loved. We'll talk about those in a little bit, but in general, I was severely disappointed with the film. This happens sometimes where he thinks he's going to go in hating the film. I think I'm going to go in enjoying it, and we seem to switch places. So keep that in mind, folks.
Great mix, opposites. But the one thing that I got surprised is actually the trailer for Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
It's like an extended trailer for it for the previews.
Was it extended? I thought it was basically the same one we'd seen before, like the last trailer with the ballroom dance music.
Yeah, but I think this one was a little different, wasn't it?
Nope, I think I saw everything the same. So if you go see the movie, folks, you might get an extra special trailer.
Yeah, because there's...
and that might be, to me, that was probably going to be your best experience.
Because compared to the last trailer that I ever released for Suicide Squad, this one actually had Batman in it.
Oh, yeah, there was a slight brief scene where Batman was saving Harley Quinn, I think, or carrying her in his arm, which we had seen in a previous trailer, but not the ballroom dance. So it might be a slightly extended version of that trailer.
The X-Men, It was weird because I think there were some jokes where it was from other critics and whatnot, where it's if you're that movie accurate person, certain things make sense, or things didn't make sense. Technically, even though the movie takes place in the 80s, especially from X-Men First Class, the way it took off, the characters should have been in their 40s.
They should have been in their 40s, especially if I think X-Men First Class was supposed to be in the 70s, and so bump it up 10 years. And they make the joke in there. Moira McTaggart looks like she hasn't aged a day. That's because it hasn't been 10 years or 15 or 20 years, whatever it was. And they just reference the past films as they happened a long time ago. Yeah. And it's not too huge of a deal. It's a small thing. There are much bigger issues in the film, I think, than that. We'll go next into the characters. What did you think of the characters? Was there anyone in particular you enjoyed? Was there anyone you hated?
Honestly, what I really wanted to see was Jubilee using her powers in action.
Yeah, they tease Jubilee. They show her in full, X-Men animated series gear, yellow jacket, the glasses, everything. And, I thought that she was going to be more involved in the story than she was. But you don't get to see her use her power. She has a very few lines. I felt like she was just there for the few fans that wanted to see her. And I think she was underutilized.
You know, I wish they would have. Honestly, I don't even think, other than Jean Grey, all the students that were attending the school, I don't think any of them used their powers really.
No, mostly it is people with some makeup on for most of the kids.
Yeah, hair
Um,
dye or hair streaks or something just to
yeah,
show they have.
yeah, the students who were in Xavier School for the Gifted, most of them are just attending classes. I think there's more superpowers in the very first X-Men film than
Mm.
there is in this one, as far as like the school kids go. But the main characters for the new X-Men that you do get to see their powers: Cyclops, Jean Grey, Nightcrawler, and that's it. I mean, besides those are the three main people and the kids of the new X-Men who you get to see their powers. Yeah, so that was disappointing as well. I thought there were a lot of characters that were underutilized.
Oh, totally. One of my biggest things on it for like character wise is like, uh, costumes. They didn't really have them. You know, they
No,
it
no,
wasn't towards the end.
that wasn't too huge a video.
Yeah,
I liked their '80s outfits. One of the pluses of the film to me was their outfits. They were all very '80tastic.
they're in
They felt
Miami Vice with the
they
shoulder
felt yeah
pads.
they felt straight out of Miami Vice for a lot
Mm-hmm.
of it. You get to see Professor Xavier look like he was a big
With the
Miami
hair
Vice
pulled
fan.
off, which I
Yep,
can't really speak on
with
my
the
own behalf.
gigantic,
Mhm.
long hair in the back. Him and Havoc, very similar hairstyles, even though they're supposed to be 30 years apart difference
Mm-hmm.
in age. So that was the thing. You get to see the return of Maureen McTaggart. She plays a character.
CIA
She
agent.
basically is the lead into investigating Apocalypse. So
Which her out of all of them, I thought it'd be more of the Mystique character since she was kind of like tracking down, in a way, mutants. Do you think that would be the one mutant she would try to find?
yeah, this was a very full cast, and unfortunately, that kind of draws away from any one particular character getting a lot of backstory. Some of the new mutants that you would have seen from the trailers that weren't really what utilized to me: Psylocke, Storm, and Angel. These are the three of the four horsemen of the apocalypse in this story. I Magneto kind of gets the bulk of the this time story wise. They kind of rehash making him a brooding, angry dude. Apparently, in the interim between First Class and this movie, Magneto has kind of gone into hiding. He's in some Slavic country where he gets a wife and a kid, and they're murdered in the film. And that, of course, makes him angry and very wanting to kill the humans until the end.
I thought of it as an inside joke, like, hey, because Marvel and Disney killed Quicksilver. Like, what, we're gonna kill Scarlet Witch. So I was like, oh man, in my mind, I'm thinking it's like a big finger.
I didn't
to
think
Disney and
I
Marvel.
didn't think she was Scarlet Witch though. She was someone else though.
No, she's Scarlet Witch.
No, she wasn't Scarlet Witch. Scarlet Witch.
Originally in the story of the comic book wise, they're twins.
No, I know, but even in the First Class one, Scarlet Witch is still Quicksilver's younger sister.
Mm-hmm.
She's from the same mom. This is a different daughter from a different lady entirely. So the daughter they kill has like this animal speaking power and control ability.
I wasn't Squirrel Girl.
Yeah, so I think it would be more entertaining if it was Squirrel Girl.
Yeah.
But they do kill Magneto's new kid and his new wife, which makes him brooding, and angry, but it feels really ham-fisted and forced. Like I think they I can't say they did it poorly. It just wasn't exciting to me. It wasn't fresh. It didn't make me feel connected to them at all. That's just me though.
I thought
A
they
lot.
aimed more for emotional, like especially going back to the Auschwitz land.
They really
used
try
a
to
lot of old footage from the original movies too.
they tried to pull from that scene in the original X-Men where Magneto's getting his powers and he's a kid and he's super emotional, and that's how he activates his mutant powers. They try to recreate that same moment by killing Magneto's kid and daughter. It just doesn't work well. I would have been more impressed if her mutant powers had saved her dad, and then he had to shove them off into hiding because she kind of repeated his mistake in life. Only she saved him and his wife. That would have been more impressive to me, but instead, they went with the easy route because they couldn't make Magneto happy and still have him as a villain, obviously. So that was sad to me. What did you think of Apocalypse?
Honestly, yes, I got the Ivan Ooze feel when I first saw him, but I was surprised the amount of makeup they used on the guy. I had to look at his picture. I had to look at my IMDb to see what he actually looked like without the makeup. Yeah,
You've seen Star Wars, right?
which one?
Star Wars: The Force Awakens,
Yes.
the Cameron Poe guy. That's him.
Oh,
So they did a great makeup job on the guy. I do like the fact that he wasn't as purple as he appeared in some of the early footage and pictures. So yay for that. They definitely listened to what fans were doing in post production, grade him up, put all the lines to make him look more apocalyptic. He wasn't quite as big as he would be in the comics, but that's okay. I think as an actor, he was okay. He was a better actor than a lot of other people. So for me, Apocalypse's powers seem very vague. Like they infer that he has a bunch of stolen powers from people, but they don't really define what those powers are. Like we see he can teleport,
Which that was
like mass teleport
yeah.
apparently. He can create a field around himself.
Mm-hmm.
He can also control the earth or sand or something,
Mm-hmm.
and bending it to his will to create items or to suck in people and kill them. And those are kind of the two ones besides the healing power that he gets in the very beginning of the film when he switches bodies. But other than that, he didn't seem all that super powerful.
No, he didn't have the other cartoony, what do you call them? Hoses that connect from his like elbow to his back kind of
Yeah, no,
thing.
he doesn't have those great ray gun things on his arms.
Yeah,
He doesn't get gigantic except within like a
a dream, not dream
dream
sequence, but
kind of in the mind
I
sequence.
think it was like an astral plane projectile
Maybe
thing, but they
it's supposed
didn't.
to take place between Charles Xavier's mind and an Apocalypse,
Mm-hmm.
and they're battling within like the mind sphere, and Apocalypse gets all gigantic. So that's the only thing you kind of see in that respect.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, he just seemed like his biggest ability was making other mutants more powerful.
Yeah.
So, so that, I mean, it was okay. It was cool. What about the character of Storm and Angel and Psylocke?
For the Horsemen, they were all right. Olivia Munn. I kind of wish she had more lines, but she looked just like out of the comic book
You can count
practically.
her lines on one hand, folks.
Seriously, but they did obviously invest quite a bit on her physical ability to move around. Because there was a one old video of her showing off her sword skills, then with Ryan Reynolds just bops her on the head with a
I wish
little.
that we would have seen more of those short skills. To be honest, I would have
Yeah.
loved to see her do more sword fighting, like with somebody. What they have in the final cut is not impressive at all. It seems like again a way she's a relatively decent actress. Her funny, goofy character that she normally does is it doesn't really fit with Psylocke necessarily. So maybe that impeded how much they could keep from the filming. I feel like she would have been a better character in like Deadpool.
I wish they would have used her like the way she would be in the comics, because she does have that side blade, but usually she would stick that into people's heads to do a mental kind of
Besides
attack.
psionic power stuff, yeah.
Yeah, but then she converted and turned it into a whip, which I
Yeah,
don't remember that in the
I
comics
think
at
that was
all.
the enhancement from Apocalypse. Um, Instead of just having a sword, now she can
Manipulate.
manipulate into other forms and dual wield apparently. So there really is no reason for her to have a sword at all.
But she still carried a
Yeah,
sword.
but she still carried her sword, and big reveal at the end. Unsurprisingly, it doesn't just cut people. Apparently, the whip version can hold someone. Otherwise, Beast heads would have popped
Oh
off
yeah,
when she
because
whipped it
that would
around him.
happen.
That's a thing, I guess.
Yeah. Now, as for Storm, they kind of did a little bit of a semi origin of her being, of course, a street thief kind of thing.
He is portrayed in the movie as a Egyptian street thief with an African accent.
Well, Egypt is in Africa.
Yeah, but this is like South African, not Egyptian.
They get to walk
I
around.
mean, I'm just saying. It seemed
Wakanda's there too.
it seemed out of place to me. If she grew up in the streets of Cairo, then she would have had an Egyptian accent.
My thing is, she has actually a black mohawk. Then when Apocalypse gives her the enhancement, then she gets the white hair.
Yeah,
Compared to
and then
being
she
born with
gets
white hair.
those better storm powers, and I'm okay with that particular aspect. But she looked very Apocalypse Storm from the comics. She has the white mohawk, the white eyes, storm powers. You can't ask more than that. Again, didn't get very many lines. She's more of a background character. So it's okay. It's just not. Again, it wasn't really impressive. Didn't connect me to the characters very much.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna keep having that opinion. Unfortunately, Angel. I thought Angel's look was superb. The before
Feather
Angel
or
and the
back?
back. I liked them both actually. I liked the feather version. I like that he had claws, and then so he's a
That part kind of tripped me out.
little more armed.
He more reminded me like a harpy because of the claws on the wings.
I like the. I wish there would have been a longer mutant battle scene. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it would have been a great opportunity to kind of pit mutant against mutant in like a fan kind of battle
Did
royale
you
kind of
end
thing.
up catching the blob? Even
Yeah,
though they
he's
didn't make it an official saying the blob.
no, and he wasn't very blobby. I thought the blob was like impossible to hurt because of his blobness.
Yeah, but
So that was a little weird for me. Like you would think that okay,
mm,
maybe extend a little bit more, but he got all scratched up by Angel's
yeah,
hawk
wings.
claw.
Yeah, on the
Um,
tip of the top of the wing, which was
yeah.
weird.
I'm like, I'm okay with the hawk thing. It makes him more offensive, I guess, before he transforms. And you never really see the claws again in the future. Instead, once he transforms into Archangel, he gets the traditional stabby feathers he can shoot from his
Which
wings.
I was wondering how they were going to work that angle
And it was
because
just, transform his wings, and he gets some extra stuff on the sides, like they break out ribs and turn them into more feathers, and he can shoot them apparently, which is iconic according to both the animated series and the comic, of course. So that was fine. I liked his cyberpunk look though; it was pretty nice looking.
I think they actually tapped a little bit in the relationship because in the comics he actually has a relationship with Psylocke. So when he like actually she meets them, like takes Apocalypse to him, there was that kind of awkward look, like like oh, it's
They
you.
infer that they've had some kind of connection before,
Exactly.
which could be the case. I saw it as she knows he's a good fighter because of the cage matches that he was forced to participate in apparently.
Yeah.
But again, underutilized character. I think Angel again only has a couple lines. Most of the dialogue is between Apocalypse, Charles Xavier, Magneto, and boy does Mystique get a lot of lines.
Oh
Although you
yeah.
don't see Mystique as Mystique, you see her as Katniss Everdeen quite a
Pretty
bit.
much because she even had the braid, like not identical, but yeah, the braid was there.
You definitely get the Katniss Everdeen. I'm really surprised we didn't see her at some point go,
That or give her a bow and arrow kind of thing.
some kind of effect there. It's explained away as she doesn't want to be the face of the mutant revolution by being Mystique with her blue skin and red hair, and instead, I feel like she didn't want to sit in makeup for like 6 hours a day to be Mystique for the portion, majority of the filming of the movie, and so instead, she negotiated that she will look like her regular self.
Yeah. But yeah, she is a good character, but they pretty much made her almost seem like she was deleting the X Men. She was gonna convert it, show them that like this is the way, which in like in comics and everything,
They're
else, she was the bad
Yeah,
guy.
they're definitely playing on her Katniss Everdeen hero aspect, trying to make her more of a heroine instead of a villain from the regular comics and animated series. They're playing up the female empowerment, Katniss Everdeen thing, which is fine. I get the marketing aspect of it. I just it was kind of annoying not see her use. She uses her mutant powers, I think, a total of 2 times during the entire film. One when she like imitates some random dude, and one when she imitates Alec, and that was kind of it.
That or just she's gone back from the blue to the human form 3, maybe 4 times.
That's not really using her power. That's just her being herself.
Exactly.
Again, these are just some of the things I didn't really care for. Overall, the story was decent. It sort of follows like the comic and the animated series Age of Apocalypse thing. Apocalypse is revived. He gains power. He tries to take over the world. The good guys come and defeat him. That wasn't too bad. Again, it just didn't make me feel anything. It always felt flat, and I felt like it should have connected better. Everything was very by the book. You felt like you knew what was going to happen soon.
Even a Stanley cameo.
Yeah, there's a Stanley and his wife actually. His wife actually got a cameo this
That
time.
made it real sweet.
So that was kind of cute. But it felt flat, and it felt like it shouldn't have been flat. There was everything you're looking for in a superhero film. There was explosions. There's big power uses.
They even tapped into more of the comic story, like the way, like I haven't seen Batman versus Superman, but they said they even worked in the death of Superman in it. They were forcing more of the comic storylines.
They sort of explain. Oh,
The same thing with this movie is they forced more. They actually forced the Weapon X program thing.
They do. That would seem rather random. I think they're
Yeah.
just trying to expand Wolverine a little bit
Like, hey,
more.
there's another movie.
And honestly,
out.
Wolverine looked older here than he does in any of the other movies.
Still had a semi 80s hair, even though they had a variation, but very similar to the Weapon X outfit of wearing. He was like torn up shorts, that weird belt head contraption thing from the comics. I wasn't.
It was
expecting
sort
a
of
big,
Weapon
huge
X,
helmet,
yeah, but it's it was fine. It was a nice surprise experience, and they do kind of lead into the post credits we're talking about now. At the very end of the film, after everybody's bad guys lose, good guys win, you do get to see Jean Grey do the Phoenix appearance of her powers, and she's a little more in control here. But it does also harken back to the last X-Men film, X-Men, I think it was 3, where Jean Grey kills Wolverine she like burns his skin away and all his muscles with her firepower. Only he then kills her afterwards. They kind of use the same logic in killing Apocalypse. Jean Grey's fire powers overcomes Apocalypse's healing factor that he'd gained at the very beginning of the film. So that was okay to me. I think
effect wise, it just looked good.
It was.
That's as far.
It was.
Yeah, she didn't get the green outfit with the white belt kind of thing.
I don't know. It was very fiery, and it was okay to me. It wasn't horrible. It wasn't also connecting for some reason. It seemed forced.
Mm-hmm.
Out of the movie, the things that they put in felt forced and ham-fisted. And if it works for you, great. Happy for you. It didn't work for me.
Of course, the big scene stealer. Of course, just to see the effect wise how he operates is of course Quicksilver.
Yes. Quicksilver has a beautiful scene. This is one of the highlights of the film. I loved it. You get to see a little bit of it in the trailer. That is probably the best scene in the entire movie when Quicksilver comes and literally saves everybody in the entire school after the Xavier School Gift to Children
Everybody
explodes, except for Havoc, who they decided to kill for some reason.
Yeah, they say, he was just too close to the explosion.
He's done.
Yeah.
And that's the last you ever see of him. Scott Summers seems to mourn for a few seconds and then gets over it. Yeah. So I guess he wasn't his favorite brother.
Yeah. But other than that, I thought it looked really good. It was interesting. They did show like the Blackbird, but
then they blew it up.
Yep. And I was like, that was such
a so again, on the whole, the film was very pretty. That's one thing you can say positive about it. It was a very pretty film with pretty special effects.
They had a budget. They probably used the hell out of the green screen. The only part that was kind of like I liked and didn't like was the very end. They actually had the danger room and they actually had Sentinels. I was like, everybody wanted Sentinels for the longest time, but they were the Sentinels from the Days of the Future's Past.
Yeah, they were the same purplish Sentinels, which makes sense that they would kind of keep some of the tech for themselves. It was nice, I guess. Mm-hmm. It wasn't horrible. Looks like Mystique is playing a bigger part in the films in the future. She seems to be training the X-Men in combat, and Professor Xavier is just hanging out in the background, baldish. So they do explain how he goes bald in the most weird way, apparently. And apparently his hair never grows back. He not only loses it, but because of Apocalypse, I guess maybe that's one of Apocalypse's powers, hair loss, yeah.
Chemotherapy.
Yeah.
Okay. But want to talk to the post credit?
Yeah, post credit. Last bit of the review, folks. Post credit. I liked it. It was enjoyable to me. It in the Weapon X program room, all the soldiers die. Wolverine goes mad and crazy and kills everybody in a very Wolverine-ish way. Although his one jump move seemed kind of weird.
Which one?
When he was jumping and like killing people, like he would like jump straight up in the air and hit them. It felt like the wire work was a little wonky. It didn't feel like a nice normal arc. But again, back to the post credits. All the soldiers are dead. You see some guys in suits walking in. They go to the room where Wolverine was, and they take a sample of his blood, and they put it in a little case along with some other samples of some other mutant blood, apparently. And when they close the lid, you get to see SX Corp, which is for
the whole X23. If you guys are familiar with the X23 storyline, they're even a random person that was sitting right in front of us, like, okay, it looks like you know what it's about. What's that about? Because I was going to talk to my wife and my mother-in-law about it. Pretty much with the blood sample they do, they wind up cloning Wolverine. They make the clone a girl, but they still give it the mutant abilities of like the claws. But she has like 2 claws coming out of each hand and 1 in each foot.
That is definitely one of the hypotheses for the use of Wolverine's blood. The other one with the Essex Corporation is actually for Mr. Sinister. So right. Mr. Sinister is an Essex. That this might be the tie-in to your next major villain, which could lead you to what it's called, the Jungle Lands, the Savage Lands, just the Mr. Sinister kidnapping Jean Grey and Scott to take their DNA to create super mutants.
That was the thing with me with like all the X-Men movies. I was wondering how, don't get me wrong, Magneto was cool and all, but I wanted a new villain, somebody completely different, and I always wanted to see Mr. Sinister.
Yeah, I think especially when they were comparing old scenes from the previous movies with scenes from this one where Charles and Magneto were going back and forth. The It felt like they were rehashing, and it wasn't quite as genuine.
Exactly.
The older films had more emotional connection ties, maybe it was the music standard, I don't know, but their back and forth seemed better. And again, they do a line by line reading of when Charles Xavier and Magneto talk in the plastic prison in the very, is it the first film, the second film, in the second film. That whole scene is of, what are you going to do when they come for you and your school, Charles? And Charles says, I feel a great swell of pity for anyone who comes looking for trouble at my school. And honestly, Patrick Stewart did better.
Yeah. I don't know. Did you notice that other than growling and sniffing, did Hugh Jackman have any lines?
I think that was
Growl
it though.
and
Yeah,
sniffing?
he was supposed to be, feral,
Feral.
Weapon X Wolverine.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
maybe they would have had to pay him more if he actually said anything.
That's true because you had to get something if you speak.
Okay, so that's gonna be it for us, folks. Thank you very much for listening. If you have any comments, please leave them on the page, on Facebook, YouTube. We're gonna have all the links for where you can contact us. Let us know if you agree with us. Let us know if you don't. Thanks for listening, folks. You have a good night.